The creation of the prophet was not an act of conscious will, my friend, but a process of surrender, allowing myself to become a hollow reed through which a greater voice could flow. For many years, Al-Mustafa dwelt within the valley of my heart, a seed waiting for the right season to sprout. Yet let it be known, I am not the prophet. I am but a mirror reflecting his light. The art and clarity of the words in the prophet evolved over 2 decades, spanning my adolescence and maturity. The book was not finalized until I felt certain it would be nothing less than perfect. Both Al-Mustafa and I departed our homelands. He left the isle of his birth for the city of Orphalese. I, at age 12, guided by my mother's invincible will and boundless love, departed Lebanon after my father's folly left us landless. My mother was determined to find our Al-Mahjar, a place where pilgrims journey in hope of a new and better life. Fate led us to Boston, a city of contradictions, a place of both light and shadow. In my youth, it was a harsh and unforgiving landscape. The poverty and prejudice of the South End starkly contrasted the beauty and serenity of the Lebanese mountains I had left behind. I became a solitary wanderer in a world that did not understand me. Yet Boston also held the seeds of my artistic awakening. There I encountered vibrant bohemian circles that nurtured my creativity, the inspiring teachers and mentors who sensed my potential and encouraged me to pursue my dreams. The Americans believed I was made to be a prophet. In Boston, I first discovered the transformative power of art, the ability to create beauty from pain, to find meaning in chaos. At age 20, pain broke the shell that enclosed my understanding. The deaths of my sister, brother, and mother within a single year made me question everything. The world, once full of promise, became shrouded in sorrow. The loss of my sister Sultana, so young and full of life, awakened within me a deep compassion for the fragility of human existence. The passing of my brother Boutros, my confidant and friend, shattered my illusions of immortality and ignited a fierce determination to make the most of my remaining time. A restlessness that stayed with me even after writing my masterpiece. And the death of my mother Camila, the anchor of my life, left me adrift in a sea of grief, yearning for the comforting embrace of the divine feminine. The most beautiful word on the lips of mankind is the word mother, and the most beautiful call is the call of my mother. Pain can be creative. Some people reach the big thing in life through joy, and some through neither pain nor joy. They just live into it, and a great number never reach it at all. I reached it through pain. My heart became a little world of its own, and I withdrew, craving solitude. With hands burning from the fires of creation, I became so absorbed in my work that I would hardly eat, drinking only strong Turkish coffee and smoking heavily. Many days my meals were no more than an orange or a piece of fruit. I would sleep from 4 in the morning until 11, as I found my best work came between midnight and dawn. Then came an unexpected blessing. When the Prophet Al-Mustafa was a newly arrived traveler in the city of Orphalese, he met Al-Mitra, the first to believe in him, a soul who became the wind beneath his wings, giving voice to the whispers of his heart. And just as fate guided him to Al-Mitra, it led me to Mary Haskell, a school teacher from South Carolina, my guardian angel who reassured me that I was not a stranger in a strange land. Our relationship, though complex and at times fraught, was a deep and enduring kinship of minds and hearts. She was my confidant, patron, mentor, muse, and eventually serious collaborator. I would write in white heat and was primarily concerned with the essence of my creation. Mary provided the discipline of form and gently guided me in matters of punctuation, rules of grammar, and tense sequences. Three people shaped my life the most. My mother, who left me alone to grow. Mary, who had faith in me and my work. And my father, who called forth the fighter in me, sensing my dissatisfaction with America. Mary offered to finance my studies in Paris, the heart of the world. What joy it was to breathe Parisian air and drink its light. Visiting the Louvre for me was like a pilgrim entering a sacred shrine, intensifying my hunger for creation. In Paris, I developed the language of poetry that Al-Mustafa would later speak. I began reading Nietzsche and William Blake. What kinship I feel with these men. They took the words out of my mind. Al-Mustafa would not exist without them. In Blake I found a soul sister to my own. How free he is from all the thoughts that come before him. But no one can understand Blake through intellect. His world can only be seen by the eye of the eye, never by the eye itself. Blake's Prophet of Eternity, Los, was the torch lighting the path for Al-Mustafa. Los embodies creative energy and imagination, fighting against the forces of materialism and conformity. Blake wrote the most profound things in English, and his vision the most godly. And Nietzsche, perhaps the loneliest man of the 19th century, and surely the greatest. Reading the sacred book, Thus Spake Zarathustra, changed me. What a man! Alone, he fought the world in the name of his Superman. Though the world forced him out of reason in the end, he triumphed in spirit. He died a Superman among pygmies. A sane madman in a world too decorously insane to recognize true madness. And what a pen! With one stroke it would create a new world. And with one stroke it would efface old ones, the wild, dripping beauty, charm, and power. His declaration that God is dead shook me to the bone. Yet, rather than fully rejecting religion, I sought to reform it. Nietzsche had his Zarathustra, Blake had his Los, and I my Al-Mustafa. The prophet, though garbed in the language of the West, whispers secrets of the East, echoing the wisdom of the Sufis. Sufi thought is nearest to my own spiritual inclination. It speaks not merely of love and life and death, but of their hidden unity. The oneness of being that binds all things together in a sacred embrace. Like a single flame reflected in countless mirrors, the divine spark dwells within every soul, yearning to be awakened, to be reunited with the source from whence it came. Good and evil dance eternally in the heart of every being, just as time and space are mere veils draped over the face of infinity. Love is wounding and painful, even while it lifts us to ecstasy. All religions are paths winding up the same sacred mountain toward oneness. Al-Mustafa, the chosen and beloved, embodies the Al-Insan Al-Kamil, the perfect man, a microcosm reflecting the divine attributes of the macrocosm. He is Christ and Muhammad, poet and prophet, lover and mystic merged into one radiant being. A beacon of light illuminating the path to self-realization. Al-Mustafa's teachings, like the wisdom of the Sufi masters, are not declarations of dogma, but invitations to embark upon a journey of self-discovery. Creating the prophet was my rebirth, my first baptism, the only thought in me that made me worthy to stand in the light of the sun. This prophet had written me long before I attempted to write him. He set me on a path for 7,000 leagues before appearing to dictate his wishes and inclinations. And though I loved the book, it was not the work that would fulfill me. Nothing I did would ever fulfill me. For the rest of my life, I was haunted by a fear that I would never succeed in expressing myself fully. I neglected my body, focusing tirelessly on my work. My later illness and feebleness, I was certain, manifested from this deeper dissatisfaction, the inability to produce a sequel to the prophet. But it also stemmed from my growing separation of mind, body, and soul, moving further away from wholeness. I died a poet. Nietzsche, Blake, and I are poets, not prophets. The difference is that the prophet lives what he teaches, the poet does not. The poet may write eloquently of love, yet fail to be loving himself. The prophet was written to ignite the inner light and show that humanity, once awakened, can burst through the bondage of sleep. May Al-Mustafa's teachings awaken your inner prophet and guide you toward unity of existence and the oneness of being.